Hello, everyone. Welcome to Marrying Myself Mondays. This is my new live stream. I'm Rosa Linda Román, and I go by Rosa Linda. And this is basically my show where it's a new project that I'm working on, where I basically try to focus on centering my own wisdom first instead of all the input that I have from so many other places. It's a much harder thing than I thought it would be to do this, and I'm really excited you're here. So let's get into it. I've got my own little notes. Let me pull those up. And the reason I wanted to do this live is because I have a tendency, which I get into, by the way, in my Substack. So this live stream is the accompanying live stream to go with the blog post that I just posted yesterday on Substack. So the reason I wanted to go live is because I have a tendency to overthink things and be a perfectionist. And so, of course, as I say in the blog post, when Summer saw me trying to be a perfect perfectionist and do all the productivity that I did normally during the year, the regular school year, before my son got out of school for the semester, Summer basically said, hold my beer. So anyway, this is going to be my place where I focus on my own wisdom first, which in general, I'm very glad to have been a great partner to my husband of almost 28 years and been together for almost 30. And so that's still not changing. Just because I'm marrying myself doesn't mean I'm not very much in love with my husband. So don't worry, that's not what this is. And I'm also very much thrilled to be the mom to my 3 kids, who are 2 of them are already off at college and one of them is already starting to drive. So before I get into this whole episode, let me tell you that the benefit of doing this live is if you are here in the studio, so if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or even on Substack, you can actually I can see any comments you put in the chat live, which is awesome because that means that if you type something, I can even pop it up on screen. I can answer questions. So as we go through it, please don't hesitate to put some comments in there and just let me know that you're here live, because it's a little weird talking to the void, but that's okay. I'm doing this. The whole point of marrying myself is to do it for me. So, and let me just read what I wrote because I'm a little frazzled because I've been chasing internet all day today. Well, so many of us are trying to figure out how to stay cool and be in the AC. And I found a really great study room at the local community college. And I went live because I do a weekly live stream with my co-host, AKVS. It's an indie author live called Friends and Authors Live. And we've been doing that every Tuesday. Well, we have to move it because he is in Germany, where they're having the worst heat wave and no AC, and Starbucks closes. And so the time we were doing, which was Tuesdays at 1, is just not going to work anymore because he needs better internet. And in order to do that, he needs to venture out, and he can't do that after everything's closed at a certain time at night. So all of this to say, the universe kind of laughed because I was like, oh, I'm going to do this new live stream on Mondays. And then my internet at that location that I was so excited about, because it had great AC, a nice little table, the internet was awful. And if you look at our Friends and Authors Live last week, it kept dropping out. It was not good. And so then I was like, well, let me just I'll sit in my car and use my Verizon. Well, that's not as easy as I thought. And you can hear they're mowing the lawn outside. So I'm going to close the windows and take a breath. Okay. So first of all, I'm really excited that you're here. And so the whole point is, how do I shift that whole idea of I've been a mom, I've been a partner, and I have so many beloved people in my life that I love and support and like being tuned into. How do I shift that just a little bit to kind of focus on centering my own wisdom, and without hopefully jeopardizing any of the relationships I actually care about. And so the way that I'm doing that is I'm digging into my old journals. I have bins of journals. I've been keeping journals since I was a teenager. And I decided, okay, I'm going to dig into these journals and just see what still sparks joy, to use Marie Kondo's, her mantra from The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up and her KonMari process. What still sparks joy that I've, collected and been looking at through all these years. I mean, starting back when I was a teenager and I followed Tony Robbins and his tapes and, all of that stuff. So that's my intention for this show, this program, is I write a blog post on Substack, and then I'm fleshing it out in this live stream, which is on, again, Facebook, YouTube, and on Substack. You can watch it live. If you're here live, put a comment in and let me know so that I can respond to you in real time, which is very cool that I can do that. So let's check and make sure nobody is in the studio, and it'll give me a moment to yeah, it should be going live, although I don't know if it is. Let's see. Yes, it is. Okay, so we're live on Substack, we're live on YouTube, and we're live on Facebook. So if you're here live, welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay, so, and again, you can put a note in the chat. All right, so now back to it. So once I discovered the things that are sparking joy, I'd realized I wanted to share them in a fun way. And since the whole idea is marrying myself, like the thought of falling in love with myself again, I mean, I've always been pretty good to myself, but it's really rediscovering the parts of myself that I love and that I want to bring with me into this next chapter. I'm still raising my son and my daughters. I'm there for them as much as I can be as they're off to college. And I'm, of course, there for my partner. But this next chapter, I'm almost 55, and I want to know, like, what still resonates for me? What do I want to bring to this next chapter as I move forward? So again, going through these journals, figuring out what sparks joy. And then I thought I would present it in the fun way, like a bride. If you're getting married, a bride, they have this adage, which is you should have something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. That's kind of the whole mantra of a bride, the things that they should have on them when they're getting married. So I'm taking that and making categories for this show, and starting with something old. So let's get to it. Let's see if I can do this. It's been a while, and we're going to do something old. Okay, so the something old category, I break it up into two different parts. There's the something old and rotten, things that it's time to get rid of them, move on from them, things that are holding me back or holding society back, or just in general not sparking joy. So that's the something old and rotten. And we'll start with that. So of course, for me, that thing is definitely perfectionism. It's like it's my tendency, even with this project. I wanted to post a lot more than I already have. And I was like, what is holding me back? Well, I've been taking this really cool course from a woman named Kyra, and I'll talk about her in the Something Borrowed section. But this was from her Women at the Edge of the Woods, one of her workshops, this journal. And she asked the question that I thought was really great. It's part of her, what she calls the Crohn's framework, which I won't give all the details about that here. But one of them, the R, is reclaiming your voice. And she said, identify one should that you are ready to let go of to create a space for your real community. And so my answer was that I should know it all and be perfect and have it all figured out before I begin creating the vision that I have been envisioning. So that idea that I should know it all and I should have it all figured out before I launch anything, that that's the something old and rotten that I'm working on doing away with. And the fact that I'm sitting here talking to actually right at this moment nobody on my live stream and still going is a perfect example of me trying to do that, to accept that it's time to move on from the perfectionism and just let's do this thing, right? Okay, so that was the old and rotten. And my favorite part of this category is the old and precious. So that's way more fun. But before I get into the old and precious for this week, there's a little backstory. Okay, so the summer, as soon as summer started, I kept thinking I'm going to have lots of time to do all of these things that I want to do. I thought I was going to write another sailing memoir, a prequel or a sequel. I'm working on a bonus chapter for by the way, I'm an author. I write mystery thrillers, well, conspiracy thrillers and sailing memoirs. Well, the conspiracy thrillers, I just wrapped up my 5-book series called Catalina's Chronicles, based on my years as a reporter working in South Georgia and North Florida. And as I wrapped that series up, I was like, okay, now what am I going to spend my time? How is this going to look? I've already got the next series well on its way. And I decided to create a bonus story to have people who enjoyed the series, if they want to stay on my list. Basically, I give them this free bonus story that puts them on my email list, and then I can notify them when the next series comes out. Well, I had hoped to have that finished already, but I'm still at least, I'm guessing, like 2 weeks away from finishing that. So I was feeling frustrated about how, there kept coming up, things kept coming up that claimed my time. And I find it very hard to like take the time to do what I had intended with this project, which is to pull out the journals and start digging through some of the old wisdom and curating that and figuring out what I want to share from that. So we were heading up to Taos. I'm in Albuquerque right now at the time of this recording, but my son had a tennis camp for 2 weeks in Taos. And I thought, oh, how am I going to dig into my journals, which are in, my garage, in the storage part of my garage? How am I going to dig into that when we're in Taos? So my sweetheart, he pulled down one of the bins for me, and we actually brought it with me to Taos, with us to Taos. So I decided the very first thing, once I opened that bin, it definitely sparked joy. It made me smile because I discovered something that I came from, like the 80s, from my teen years, or maybe even preteen years. And so I made a little video to show you what it is and why it definitely sparks joy. So I hope you enjoy this video of what I discovered in that box. Here we go. This thing is very heavy and we will see what's inside. I already can see some of it. So let me change the angle so you can see the top. And it already makes me smile because I know exactly what these are. These photo albums are not, at least one of them is not a photo album at all. It is from, I must have been, I don't know, 10. It was sometime when we were living in Florida, but you can see the clue right here. It's a sticker album. Yes, this is essentially my collection of different stickers from when I was young. We moved to Florida when I'm trying to think, I think I was 11 when I moved to Florida, and I know these collections come from Florida. I grew up in Chicago, and then my dad worked for Eastern Airlines, and so he was transferred to Miami when I was about 11. I know I went to junior high and high school in Miami, so I think I was 11. I'll have to check with my sister on that. My older sister, Becky, remembers all this stuff more than me, more than I do. Anyway, so Becky and I, for sure, and I think my sister Sarah too, we collected stickers. And you didn't just collect stickers. It was a whole event. And so let's dive into that right now. So I'm excited to look through these because, let me first say, this is really fun because sticker collecting was like our sport for a while there. And we were convinced that this was like we were going to make tons of money off of special rare stickers. And you didn't just stick them in the books, you actually had to cut them out individually and save them. So some of these are well preserved. I was a kid, so like it's probably, well, let's look at it. First of all, just looking at the album, this is back before they had archival paper, like archive quality. So the photo albums themselves are not in great shape. Um, and we've moved a lot, so they've been all over the place. But if you notice, it says prismatics. So these were back then so cool, the prisms. Um, and I think they're all cut out. Let's see. Basically, each one of these is cut around, so it's still on the original backing. And that means I took scissors and cut around each of these to preserve them, because that was what you did back then, and it was our hobby. And so it's really fun to look at just some of the stickers that are in here. Hearts, of course, lots of hearts. Be My Valentine. This is says the hearts are on the bottom. And then, oh, this is indicative of the era. Michael. I love Michael. Michael Jackson. Look at that. All of these old stickers on their original backings from the era when Michael Jackson was not only alive and well, but was very popular. Oh, Gremlins. Who remembers Gremlins? Oh my gosh. And Star Wars. So it's really fun just to look through. There's, Gizmo and the Gremlins and the Star Wars characters. But anyway, all of this to say, I noticed here on the unicorn page, there's something that was very familiar. These are Lisa Frank stickers. And back in the day, those were all the rage. I remember Lisa Frank stickers. And before I go further into this book, let me show you what's underneath this book. These are stickers magazine. And that was so exciting to have a stickers magazine. Remember Mellow Smello? Or Scratch and Sniffs. Whoa, look at that. Long live the Royal Stickers family. Wow. Presenting the Royal Sticker family. Sticker mania has spread all the way to Buckingham Palace, the home of England's Queen, Princess, and Princes. Wow. For the two younger of these princes, William and the newest arrival, Harry, it seems that not even a regal palace can fill their every need. Just before Christmas, Mrs. Grossman's paper company received an urgent call from the palace placing a royal order for pages of Grossman's sticker album as a gift for one of the princely kids. Wow. I wonder if the princes still have the stickers. Oh, wow. Pretty wild. That was before all the things that happened in their lives. Oh my goodness. Mr. T was Snoopy. And of course, GoBots. Wow. Oh, there's the Ewoks and Garfield. There's Lisa Frank. Wonder if that company is still around. Interesting. Kind of a fun walk down memory lane, isn't it? I think this is so interesting, this whole process. It really does give you a little insight into like your childhood or early teen mind, right? Like a physical, visceral feeling of going back in time and putting myself back in the place that I was when I collected these stickers when I was probably between 11 and 14, maybe older, I don't know. Uh, and it makes me realize, like, I kept thinking about, okay, well, what is this project? Marrying myself. Um, and I assumed it was going to be that I would go through some of my old journals and find the wisdom and, what's still relevant today. But maybe it's also just sitting with things that I've been carrying from place to place, from my home. My parents probably kept these bins for years for me, and eventually I moved them to my house from house to house and had them in storage. And they just sit there. And you think, oh, maybe one day you'll share them with your kids. And then you have kids and you're like, oh, look at this cool stuff mommy has. And ultimately the kids are like, yeah, that's nice. But it doesn't necessarily have the same appeal to them. They have different interests, and every now and then I'll open up a box or find something that they're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." But mostly it's for me. And I think not needing it to be for anyone else, not needing to impress anyone or whatever, I think that's good. It's good for me to sit with my sticker books and just kind of have the nostalgia and think about what they meant to me at the time. We had like we didn't have a lot of money. And so like we would save up every penny so we could buy these stickers and they were so special to us. And in my mind, it was like, oh, these are collectibles, and one day somebody's gonna buy this collection and I'll make money off of them. Um, but now I look back at it and it's not about that at all. It's about having this thing that reminds me of a time in my life that, yeah, different time and how far I've come and where I am, and also I mean, it still makes me smile. Michael Jackson, Wham. I can't wait to see what else is in the pages of these magazines and in my sticker books. I'm looking through the other one. This one, these are already stuck on. So, of course, those are not valuable anymore because, the rest are totally valuable. And these are a little bit more just random stuck on stickers. But there's still some fun ones to see that I haven't seen in a long time. These are, do you remember holograms? Holograms? Holographs? I don't know. Oh, remember these, you guys? These are mystics. Watch. If you touch it, they still work. They're basically some kind of, I don't know what in there, but these mystics, you touch them and they changed colors. Oh, I love that. Remember mystics? And they are still on their little backings. I cut them all out individually. Imagine taking the time to cut out each individual sticker. It's pretty wild. Oh my goodness, Cubert! And of course, more Lisa Frank. There's Ghostbusters and Mrs. Piggy. So fun. Felix the cat. Wow. I wonder if these smell. Ooh, this one does smell. It smells like evergreen. Interesting. I wonder if these smell too. Oh yeah, still smells like a strawberry. What is this? Grape snow cone. Yep, smells grape. That's crazy. They still smell. That's awesome. Wow. Pretty wild. I love that I took the time to cut them all out individually. There's all the football teams, and this is before I actually knew anything about football. I didn't really discover football until I went to college at the University of Florida, but somehow I ended up with football stickers. And here's superheroes, original X-Men. Wow. Spider-Man, X-Men, the Hulk, the Fantastic Four. The thing that cracks me up is to think back then they didn't have movies and all of the swag and all of the merchandise that they have now. These were like a really old, like based on comic books, I guess. Um, so that's kind of fun. Little stickers. Oh, these look like dragons and dinosaurs. Interesting. Magic. That is my name. These smelly stickers belong to Rosa L. Román. So these must be scratch and sniff. Be mine, kiss me, it's Valentine's Day. And then these are just like, I wonder if these smell. No, they do not smell. These are just labels and holidays. Shiny Mylar stickers, I think they call these. And Disney. Of course, there's Disney in there. Well, so that's my sticker collection. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but they made me smile. I hope they made you smile too. And I will leave you with the question, if you could go back and dig up one thing or maybe one category of things from your younger years, from when you were maybe in your tweens or teens, that you wished you had saved, or maybe you did save, what would it be? What would you dig out and look through? And that might give you a smile the way my sticker books gave me a smile today. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye. We'll go back to the mystics because I think those are my favorite. There you go. So those were my stickers, and that was in the top of that bin. The rest of the bin is full of journals, and I already started kind of leafing through them. And next week, I'm going to share one of the journals that blew my mind, that made me realize how close we came to a totally different trajectory in our lives. But I wanted to, before I get into any of the next categories, I wanted to kind of show you something, because in the video I talked about, oh, and by the way, here's my sticker collection. I have it with me. So at the end, if you have questions, I can show you if there's one you want to see in particular at the end of this live stream. So let me know. But and by the way, I've mentioned it in the chat, but if you type something, if you're here live and you type something in the comment section, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or StreamYard, I will see that live here in the studio. You don't have to worry. Nobody else will see you unless if you don't want to be seen. But it's nice for me to know that you're here, because I see there's a number up in the corner, which tells me somebody's here. So hello, if you're here. Anyway, in the video, I talked a lot about, oh, I wonder, back then we thought we were going to be rich, and that was going to be like, they were going to be collectible stickers, right? And I cut each one out individually, which is just, I must have had a lot of time on my hands back then. But I did some research and I found out that that wasn't necessarily only a pipe dream, because let me show you here. Hang on. If you look at this, eBay has a whole like marketplace. Where is it? It's not showing it. Shoot. How come it's not showing it? Okay, I'm doing it wrong. Give me a second. Stand by. Let's try that again. Stop screen and try again. Sorry. I do know what I'm doing, but sometimes I get confused. Window, StreamYard, this should be it. I'll just show the screen, and you'll see all my junk. Okay, we'll do that and share. And then, okay, so what I was going to say is, it shows this is in eBay, they have stickers that are actually for sale. Many, I'm still not doing it, is it? Hi. Oh, somebody's here. Hello. What, Nathan is here. Hi, Nate. What do you wish you did collect as a child? That's a good question. I know now, in hindsight, a lot of people find things that if they had collected them, they would have made a lot of money. But let's see if I can get this to share. Are you seeing the, no, I don't think so. Let's remove this. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties, which has been the case all day. Here, let's see if this shows it. Share. Does that show it? Yay. Okay. So that's what I wanted to show. To answer your question, Nathan, I wanted to collect stickers. I wonder what other people wanted to collect. But this is, I did a search, and if you look, this is a sticker that's for sale right now for $40, a Mystic, which I just showed you the stickers. And but let me show you this tab instead. This one is one that's sold. These are two Mystics, that very rare Mystic oilies. I guess they're called oilies. I don't remember that. But from the 1980s, which this was. And these two, one of which was not on the original backing and was already stuck, sold for $60. And then I know in the video I mentioned Lisa Frank. So look at this one. This Lisa Frank sticker, these two sold for $25. So, I mean, for the girl that bought him when I was, I don't know how old, 10 maybe, and I probably paid, I don't know, $1 for a sheet of stickers. I kind of feel like I have the lottery right here in my little sticker collection. So that's really fun. All right, now we're going to stop sharing the eBay stuff and we're going to move on. So that was my something old, and that was the something old and precious. So now I want to get to the next category, and the next category is something new. Okay, so something new is actually something I'm really excited about. This project of marrying myself has been a really interesting journey of discovery, and I'm really just getting started figuring out what the nice thing is. I get to rediscover the things that spark joy from my old journals and from things that actually, that I've been collecting over the years. But then the next step is, how much of that do I want to share? I've come across some journals that I will not be sharing with some of you, with anyone. But I also, not just journals, but if you know me, because of my broadcasting background and just in general, my nature, I document things. I have so many recordings and archives, photos, videos, and I think amazing things that I've never shared. So some of that I want to share here, but I realized part of that trip where we went up to Taos, after that, we went to take our son to the AJR concert in Colorado Springs. And I was like, oh, that'd be really cool to share that with some of you. But then I realized I don't necessarily want to share it with the whole wide world, but my paid subscribers, who obviously know and love me, and I know and love them, and we're kind of a community in and of itself, I did want to share it with them. Well, luckily for our something new section, my daughter is on a study abroad program in London, and she made this video. Well, actually, I'm going to do the video last. She introduced me to this app, which is called Polar Steps, and this is a little preview of that app. And the reason I'm showing it to you is because I'm going to use this app to share some of those more the behind the scenes photos, videos, things like that with my paid subscribers. So here's the Polar Steps app. So this is Polar Steps, the app. This is on the desktop. It's different on the mobile, but let's see if they give us a demo. Basically, it's really cool because you can see the steps and the activities, and you can share it with friends, and it's awesome. Then you can create like a little video, and then at the end you can even make a book out of it, which is really cool. So it's full privacy, which the whole point is, I decided I wanted to share, but I only want to share with, close community. So you are going to get that if you are one of my paid subscribers. And let's see if I can. Uh-oh. I don't know what just happened, why it stopped. Hang on. I stopped it in the middle. There we go. So this is Polar Steps. While it's signing in, I'm signing into my account.
Maybe
I got scared that the internet died, which has been
so
the case for me. There we go.
and I only have one trip in there, which is the one that I'm talking about, the AJR concert at Colorado Springs. So it's really cool because it takes you through step by step when my internet is working, which it is not at the moment. So
Just
please
like
bear with
today.
me. Hang on. Okay, so now this is Colorado Springs right here. If you zoom in, this is the trip that we went to. And if you zoom in a lot, it'll show you the different steps that you took. But we started the trip, then we went to the Home 2 Suites. So it lists that there. And then we parked at the Bass Pro Shop, which is an experience in and of itself. But you can see I've got the photos and videos in there. Let's see if it'll show the video or not. This is, yeah, I've never tried to demonstrate it. So, and by the way, I'm at my kids' theater rehearsal, so it's kind of loud here, but
Wow, that was technical failure. That was not what I was trying to do. But you get the idea of the polar steps. So basically, that is where I'm going to be sharing. Nope. Here we go. That is where I'm going to be sharing photos and videos from our adventures with my paid subscribers. I'll show you a quick video that my daughter made of her London exchange. It doesn't show her, but it shows some of the places that she went. And it's cool because it shows you the map and it moves through the different places she went, and it also allows you to comment on her adventures, which I really enjoy. I'll turn it down so you can hear me. So I really enjoy the fact that you can comment on the adventures through this app. So the theory is I'm going to be sharing that for some of our key adventures and the things that I talk about in the something old, or probably something old, because a lot of our adventures from living on a boat and from various places that we've been, I want to share those, but I don't necessarily want to post it to the whole wide world. So this is Polar Steps, and that's a way that I can do that. So that is my something new this week. I have some more something news in the blog post on Substack. If you want to read that, it's different. This video and that blog post are different, complementary, but different things in each of them. Okay, so that's something old, something new, and of course, the next one is something borrowed. Okay, so the something borrowed this week is in line with what I'm trying to do here, which is, this idea of marrying myself and trying not to have too many other people's input. Not, I love courses and programs, and I've always been a student of, learning self-improvement and working on it. Well, if I'm focusing on my own wisdom and rediscovering the things about my own journey that spark joy and that I want to take to the next chapter, I really am trying to limit my consumption. I always tell my son, are you consuming or are you creating, when he's on his computer? And so when it comes to this project, I'm trying to do more creating, or at least consuming my own stuff and not everybody else's. But there are a lot of people that I'm loving that are very complimentary to what I'm trying to do here. And so I already introduced you to one of them, and I think I saw her here on the live stream on Substack. And that is what this comes from. This is a program that I joined with Kyra Feisen Gardner. I hope I said her name right. And let me show you her Substack. Share screen. And we're going to show this. and see if it actually shares it. It might not. It'll be another situation. Does it show? Nope. It's showing the Seven Sisters Cliffs. That is not what we want to do. So let's try this. I hate when technology does not listen to me. You need to listen. Okay, I'm going to have to do this a different way. Move and add to stage. Nope, it's still not. Stop sharing. I've been having this problem all day today, so please stand by. Okay, so here's Kyra's Substack. It's Women at the Edge of the Woods. It's a wonderful Substack that talks about building community. She specifically talks about crones, that term for women, I guess, over 50 or of a certain age. I don't love the term crones, but I've noticed a lot of women on Substack have been embracing that term. And so who am I to judge, right? If it works for you, awesome. But the point is, I really love Kyra and what she offers, because she helps you reconnect with yourself and is helping people create the communities that they've always dreamed of creating. So I would suggest starting with this, share this tab. This post is a really good place to start. Modern Crones Forging Intentional Community. I really like the way that she puts the voice. You can have the voiceover for the article, because I really enjoy hearing the creator's voice for these posts instead of a lot of them. And I do this sometimes when I'm rushed for time. Substack will automatically have a voiceover, but it's like an AI voice, a computer voice. I love when the person who wrote the article actually has, voices the article. So that's Kyra. It's a cool picture of her as well. So that's one of the things in Something Borrowed. The other one, speaking of women over 50 in the Something Borrowed category, is Jo Barnes. Jo Barnes is the 50 plus nomad, and I just discovered her 2 weeks ago, and I really like her Substack because she's focusing on, she reminds me a lot of me in the sense that she is always doing entrepreneurial things, and she's always thinking about ways to reach out and create content to reach her community while traveling the world. She's a full-time traveler, hence the 50 plus nomad. But I recently discovered one of her articles, and this is it. It's called What My 20-Year-Old Daughter Taught Me About Audience Building in a Vegas Rooftop Pool. And she also has, I don't know if this is her voice. Let's see. Let's listen.
What my 20-year-old daughter taught me about audience building in a...
It is Jo's voice, so even better. I actually did listen to it now that I remember. That's them with her daughter. But what I liked about this article is she's talking about the core message, she defined her core message, which is how to fund freedom, and that's a wonderful message. So if you want to be a digital nomad and that kind of stuff, find Jo Barnes. But she did this kind of little workshop that I went through step by step with her. And it's basically naming your core message in one sentence. What do you stand for? What do you want your audience to associate with you with? And then write it down and then make it visible. And then she takes you through the different steps. Hold the lane, let the topics vary, but never the core. Don't experiment until the loyalty is built. And then when you veer off, come back. But won't get into all of it. But the bottom line is this one sentence, what do you stand for? I really tried to get to the heart of it for myself. And it's harder than you think when you're so used to thinking about other people and not just like my family. I mean, number one, my family, my kids, my husband, and my closest friends and family, those are my core. So when it comes to a message, I always struggled because like outside of that, who am I, right? So this process of rediscovering me and what is my core message, it's trickier than I expected. So all of that to say, I realized I really enjoyed, here, let me just share it. Okay. So I create safe gathering spaces for connecting, curating, creating, and communicating in community, and in that order. It took me a little while to come up with this, and even on the surface, I'm like, is this really it? But you ever have that experience where it's like, it's either a heck yes or a heck no? And there's other ways to say that with the F word or the HE double toothpicks. But I learned recently that I'm a manifesting generator in the human design, a 6-2 manifesting generator. And one of the things that profile has, what helps me make my decisions based on that profile, if you think about it, the idea is that I wait until I get a very clear yes, a resounding yes, or an absolutely no. And if not, it's a wait, I'm not going to take action. Well, when I wrote this, it was a resounding yes for me, because I create the safe gathering spaces. That's what this is. This marrying myself is a safe gathering space for me and people like me who want to center our own wisdom first, right? And so that connecting, that first part of that, that core message, I'm connecting with myself first, then I'm curating what I actually still, what still resonates with me. I'm doing that through my journals, old videos, old notes and stuff like that. Then I'm creating, hence this live stream. I'm creating this live stream. I'm creating the blog post on Substack, and then I'm communicating it to create this community. So if you're watching this now, you're potentially part of the community. If you want to be really part of the community, come over to Substack and join me over there where I'll share more. But basically in that order. So I first connect with myself. I curate my offerings. I create something like the video I made of my sticker book or this live stream, communicating with the community that I'm now building. My intention is to take that and help other people do that too. But for now, I'm working on doing that for myself. So that is what I got from Jo Barnes. If you go to the post on Substack, you'll find the link to her Substack. So those are the two women that are in my Something Borrowed this week. Okay, moving on. So we've got something old, something new, something borrowed, and that leaves us with something blue. And the first thing I thought so the whole idea of a something blue, I didn't know what the category would be. And I decided I don't have to know. I get to discover week by week what thing that is blue, or maybe it makes me blue, or I don't know, related to blue, sparks joy and that kind of lights me up for that week. So the first thing that came up was this video that I accidentally got that looks very blue from the AJR concert. Can you wait a sec? And me. I don't know where Nathan went during this, but look how blue I am. But that's not really the something blue I wanted to share. Because it is so hot, I am literally sitting in my car, running the car so I have the AC, because it's the only place I could get internet in town, which was ridiculous. Well, actually, I had the window open because I'm under a tree, and that's lovely. But then they started mowing the lawn, so I was like, oh, now I got to close the window. Okay. So what's the solution when we're this hot and, you know, there's just no relief? Of course, the number one thing, swimming pools. So this is me in my swimming pool. It's a postage stamp size in my backyard. It's a tiny, tiny little swimming pool, which my wonderful husband made for me, and our wonderful neighbor who built our house. And I love it because no matter how hot it gets, I jump in this little tiny pool. And let me see if I have a better shot to show you. So I have around my waist, yeah, you can't see it in that one. The one more I've got to show you here. Okay, there. You can see if I play. Okay, see how there's like a strap around my waist and it's attached to like a bungee with blocks in the back. And yeah, like if you look right here, you can see the blocks in the back of the pool. That holds me in place even as I'm swimming. So I'm doing laps, but but I'm actually not going anywhere. It's in this tiny little pool. And everywhere we've gone, we were in Colorado, we were in Taos, everywhere we've gone, I've discovered swimming pools. So that is my something blue for the week. And I just wanted to share that with you because it made me smile. Okay, so that's marrying myself. That's my first live stream. I can't believe I pulled it off with the lousy internet that I have. If you are interested in seeing more, go to Substack. Please become a free, you can become a free or paid subscriber. The paid subscribers will get access to those additional photos and videos through the Polar Steps app, which I'm still figuring out. So, but it's okay because right now my only paid subscriber is my husband. So he'll forgive me if I'm a little slow. But the point is, I am working on figuring out this new project, which centers my own wisdom first, and then I am enjoying sharing it with you. Thanks for being here. I'm Rosa Linda Román, and I'll see you next week on Marrying Myself. Bye. Maybe, if I can play the outro. Oh, I'm telling you, tech is not my friend today. Yeah, it just didn't want to. Okay, there we go. Bye.